Okay, hi guys. I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how I closed up the back of my rings using solder. Quick disclaimer, I'm not responsible for you burning down your house, ruining your ring, or etc. etc. Just doing my best to help out with the information I have. So what you're going to need for this tutorial is the rings you want to size, a piece of rough sandpaper. You may want some finer sandpaper too for post cleanup, but this is just for the solder part. Some solder, lead-free solder. You'll often see it called silver bearing or silver solder. Ultimately, it's mostly tin. This is rosin core, which rosin works as a flux to clean the metal. That's not necessary. Most of the time, you're going to find rosin core, so there's not much you can do about that. But I also recommend getting some solder paste or some flux paste. This is acid based. I've had this for a really long time. Okay. Try to smooth it out with a little blowtorch to make it look nice, but still looks pretty crappy. A brush to brush that on. This right here. Now, if you have a bench vise, that's probably best, but I don't. I mean, I do, but nothing I'd want to work with. Maybe a jeweler's vise or something. So usually what I'll do is grab some kind of container that'll contain some sand. This is that magic sand. I recommend magic sand or Play-Doh. Do not use plasticine or Sculpey. That will melt from the heat being transferred into the ring. So you just take it, shove it in there, right? And then you take your ring or whatever you're working on, you shove it down in there. That holds it in place for you because that's going to be hot. You're not going to be able to hold on to it. Well, you might if you have really strong fireproof hands, but I don't. Anyway, so also sizing. If your ring fits perfectly, you're going to need to open it up a little bit. If it doesn't, you're going to need to open it up a lot. If it's way loose and you want to tighten it down, I don't even know how to help with that because I have giant fingers. But basically, I usually take some needle nose pliers. I made the mistake of already sizing this one before the tutorial. I didn't think about it, but we'll go ahead and size this guy out. He's way too small, right? So different people have different methods for this. Mandrel would be best, but no matter what, with costume jewelry, you want to be careful because it's cheap. It's going to break. So usually what I'll do is take these, put them in there, kind of open them up, and then just start prying out a little bit. Prying out. Just real carefully, just prying out. Now, if you want to go real quick on it, just put it right there in the end, and whoops, and open it right up. Just kind of, don't pinch yourself now, and just start prying it open. You'll see it's starting to open up there. I don't really like that method. I find one side bends open more than the other, so I'll generally just try and do it this way, real slow, a little at a time, pushing at the handles and at the teeth to make sure that, and you'll see it's starting to open up there just a little bit. All right, and you can see it actually came out a little lopsided, but you know, you could try and bend it with your hand a little bit to balance it out. And ultimately, the wider the opening, the more trouble you might have if you don't have a lot of experience soldering. But, you know, like now it fits on my finger. That'd be pretty tight, right? You see my fingers kind of pooching out of there. So, I mean, this guy might not even be sizable to my size, but we can kind of keep going. Just keep working at it. Nice and slow, not too fast, not too much, because it'll just break. All right, so now I've got a ring that looks like it might join together. You know, if my finger were squished down in there, it might actually fit. But so I got to go a little bit bigger than that. How unfortunate. So we'll just keep kind of working it open. Oops, working it open, working it open. There's probably a better way to do this. Maybe go out, watch a tutorial on how to do that. But ultimately, the main thing is you want it open a little bit more than would be necessary for your finger to fit in. And don't break your ring. All right. So, yeah, it's not getting a whole lot better. Gonna have to keep trying at that one. It's kind of funny because I can actually pull it out sideways, but it's still not big enough for my finger, I think. This guy, on the other hand, I've already opened up a bit. Slides right on. You can see my finger's well within there. So that's the one we're going to be working on right now anyway. So let's go ahead and get to it so this tutorial doesn't drag on forever. Go ahead and push down in there so it holds in place. Take a little bit of sandpaper. Where's the camera on this? And just kind of buff up the edges, you know, scuff up the edges. Scuff them up, because that's where our solder's going to attach, right? Just give it a little scuff. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that on camera. It's definitely starting to scuff, but there's going to be like a clear coat or something on this. You want to get through that. You want to get through that. So just here, I'm going to set that down. I don't need that. Just keep. Don't sand too much off, but like this side has a like black inking on it so that they could get down on all those spots, right? So I'm just going to keep sanding on it till it's gone. What do we got? Yeah, see? Now that's looking clean. It also gives it a little bit of key to grab onto, just like paint, but this time it's hot metal. Which, who doesn't love a little bit of hot metal? Yeah, see, there we go. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now, usually what I'll do at this point is, and depending on your brush, did I mention a soldering iron? You're going to need a soldering iron for this. If you hadn't figured that out. So there's my soldering iron, and then I'm gonna give it a little dip into this. It's gonna make some smoke, but really what I'm just doing is melting it down a little bit so that I can dip my brush in there. Ooh, yeah. And I'm gonna brush some of this solder right on that edge there. Just brush it all over. Just make sure you get it on there, right? Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Looks good, huh? You like that? Yeah, that's good, yeah. All right, that's good enough. All right, now let's put it back into our stand here. Push it down in there. Smoosh it. And see, now, that's why you kind of have to have it in a container, because if I just smushed it down, all the sand would just smush out. So you kind of have to push it down in there. And, you know, you're not going to be working it real hard, but you're going to be, you know, rotating it for ease of use. All right, so soldering iron, solder. Now, this is opposite to how you would think you would want the, like when you solder electric, usually you heat and then you attach, right? Well, there's a lot of places for the heat to go on this. That would take a while. You'd have to heat up the whole ring, and who knows what this pot metal junky ring is made out of. So we're going to go the opposite direction. We're going to put this solder right onto the soldering iron. We're going to kind of do a wiping action, right? So you're wiping it right along the edge, right? Oh, also make sure your soldering iron has a spot to clean it on, because you got to do that. You got to keep your soldering iron clean, boys. Again, and girls, if you're watching this and you haven't ever soldered before, maybe go watch a soldering tutorial, because it'll help. That smoke won't really hurt you, but don't breathe it in. Don't breathe it in, kids or adults. I don't know. We're all kind of children, right? We dress up like Jack Sparrow. All right, so I've got that side kind of what they call tinned. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. Now, sometimes it doesn't really want to attach, which means you might need to. Oh, there it goes, grabbed on. You might need to put some more solder flux on there, right? Just be ready to wipe some more on there. Yeah, just like that, which is fine. So I'm gonna keep kind of working at it. I know it's kind of hard to see, right? But ultimately, what you're gonna want is, you see how I built up a little bead on there of solder? Yeah, that's what you want. You like that? Yeah, so now we've got something we can attach to. Now we can really just go to town, just attaching solder willy-nilly. So you go side to side, it lets the other side cool. And if you get a lot of buildup, it doesn't matter. We're gonna sand it away. So just kind of keep going. If it gets attached, it's not a big deal. Oh no, my solder's attached to my ring. Well, don't shake it loose, but let's put that back in there. Just hit the solder. It'll come off. Right. All right. See, that ring's already hot. The ring is already hot. So, you know, you just kind of keep going. And you can go back and smooth this out afterwards. You just kind of have to be kind of cautious, right? So what I'm doing is building a bridge. A bridge to freedom. The freedom of having a a ring that's closed in the back. Is that freedom? Maybe that's a bridge to prison. I don't know. Never been to prison. Don't go to jail, friends. Unless it's pretend jail. Big Rock Candy Mountain. All right, let's see. You can kind of just keep going, keep putting more solder on there. That's good. I'm building up quite a nice bridge. See, every time I'm just kind of touching the side and putting lots of solder on my soldering iron. See, now, I don't know how to show this, but basically you can put so much solder on there that it comes kind of dripping off the bottom. You see how I've splatted some on there? You just put a bunch on there, splat. See, you're basically building up excess on the tip, which is not something you want to do when soldering electric. Don't take advice from me on, don't use this tutorial to solder anything electric, just because it's bad. This is not how you solder electric, right? So, you can see I've kind of built up this, oh yeah, see, I got a blob there. Got a blob, oh, son of a gun. Careful, that's hot, ouch. It's hot. It's very hot. You don't want to touch it. Don't burn yourself. Don't burn yourself, kids. Remember. All right, so, oh, it's so hot. You don't even want to touch it. It's like a firecracker. Oh, I'm burning all my fingers. Soldering irons are hot. 480 degrees C. I don't know what that is in F. That's a lot. But, just be real careful. Be real careful while you're doing this. So, you can start kind of building up the sides. It's the same technique. Just put a bunch on there. Touch it to the side, right? Put a bunch on there, touch it to the side. You can see my little ring is starting to fill in nicely here. And if you build up a lot of excess, it's completely okay. We're going to take it off anyway. So, fill in the little gaps that you see until you've got all the shape that you want, right? Because you can take off the excess afterwards. Dang it, I did it again. All right, that's hot. That's hot. So, you see there? Underneath looks like shit now. I don't know. Here, let me see if I can get this closer. Yeah, there we go. So the underneath is looking like crap. So same kind of setup, man. You just want to go at it. I don't know what this is going to do to my cell phone. Just kind of go put more on there, man. It ain't going to hurt it. Just have a ton on there. You're going to sand the rest off. Just go to town, right? All right, flip that over. Ow, it's hot. Oh, wow. Look at that, I got some of that purple sand in there. You don't want that in there. I don't think it'll hurt it, but go ahead and just keep going. Keep putting more on, because it ain't gonna hurt it, right? Now, if you feel really bold, which I'm going to, all right. So, ow! This video is called Nick Burns Himself a Lot. All right. So, if you like and you feel comfortable, let me set that down. You can actually grab these with a pair of pliers. Don't pinch them too hard because you'll damage it. And you can hold it like that. What you can do now that you've got like all the base material on there that you're going to need. Let me back this up a little bit more. Come on. All the base. So you can just kind of like use a soldering iron to smooth it down. Now this is where the extra heat really comes in handy if you've got a real hot soldering iron. Is it'll melt this quickly without transferring much heat down deep into the solder. You can see it's smoothing out, right? So you can really melt the top part of the solder very quickly. But if you don't have a hot soldering iron, it's gonna slowly transfer. The heat is gonna dissipate very quickly. But you can see now what I've got is a much smoother solder surface, which looks nicer, and may or may not need as much work. See, you could actually leave it like that if you really felt like it. I don't like the way that looks. I'm done with my soldering iron. I've smoothed everything out. You could dump this in some water if you wanted to. Oh yeah, and then always clean your soldering iron, right? Clean it. Yeah, that's a wet sponge there. If you don't have a solder station, an ordinary kitchen sink sponge will work. Just get it a little damp. A little damp, boys and girls. Boys and girls. Sorry, keep saying boys. Not forgetting the girls. Hey, that's my Leatherman. That wasn't part of the tutorial. Okay, so You can put this in some cool water because it's hot. Oh, dang, it's hot. You can put it in cool water to cool it down real fast, or, you know, you don't have to, again. Oh, it's hot. It's so hot. So if you want to take off the material, that's up to you. You can start, once it's cooled, you can start hitting it with that rough sandpaper. It's going to take a little while, but you'll see, right? You'll see. See, it's starting to, see, oh, yeah, so you can sand that stuff off. It'll sand off, just sand away, keep sanding, right? You're going to have a bunch of sand bits, you know, or tin, drip, you know, whatever you call it, dust everywhere. You know, once you've got that, like, oh, look, it's so cut in. I don't like that. You get you some finer sandpaper. This is maybe 200. I don't know what this is. I'm guessing 200. Just sand it up some more. Just keep sanding. You know, sand in opposite directions. You know, sand one way, sand the other way. You know, if you feel really bold, so you can see it's a finer keying now. I don't know if it's focusing right. We do like the makeup tutorials. See, kids? There it is. And then, you know, you can go finer. I think this is some 400 maybe. You know, once you start hitting it with a 400, it's basically, you don't got to worry about it anymore. I mean, really, your skin's going to rub it smoother than 400 probably. But you can see it's getting shiny and the key is coming out on it. You know, you got to work at it for a little while, not just quick like I do. Got to do it properly, like a real person would. Not like my lazy ass. So, you know. And that's it. If you want to clean this this solder off, I can't remember. It's either acetone or alcohol. You just probably Google it. And then the last thing I do, oh, see, now it's already cooling down. Last thing I do is let me go get this stuff that I will paint on, just to give it a nice clear coat. But it's so this clear coat is. Let me get under here. Hey, this is good stuff. It's like floor wax finish. It takes a good 24 hours to cure, but it's easy to put on because you just dunk it in there. You just dunk it in there, or you can squirt it on. Or you can use a paintbrush or whatever you want, and they sell it at the store. I use it. It's easy to reapply. You know, I'll put a new coat on my rings every once in a while. But you know, these are very sturdy. You don't need to worry about that breaking off. That's it. That's it, babies. That's it, boys and girls. That's it, all you Jack Sparrows. You know, and it's good to go. I mean, that's tin. It's probably very similar to what's made under here. What's under here? This is probably like tin. I don't know. I don't really know what's under there. Must not be tin because it would have melted. All right, that's it. Maybe I'll do a live session with this one so that you guys can ask questions or something. But until then, I'll just post this tutorial. Later.